He's never won in the United States, that is, until now. Graeme McDowell is your U.S. Open champion.
Settle in as we rewind the week with the latest edition of Monday Backspin from PGA TOUR.com.
A tough final round. Not a single player finishes under par for the 2010 U.S. Open Championship. Hello everyone, I'm Casey Black. Entering final round Sunday at the U.S. Open Championship, 3 shots behind Dustin Johnson, Graeme McDowell managed to pull off not only his first major championship, but also his first win on U.S. soil. McDowell, who becomes the first Northern Irishman to win a U.S. Open, carded only 1 birdie and 4 bogeys for a final round 74. He finished even par for the tournament. And Dustin Johnson, who started off his final round at the U.S. Open with a 3-shot lead, fell apart after the first hole. He carded a triple bogey on the par 4 second, followed by a double on the third before a bogey on the 5th. Overall, he logged 6 bogeys. Not a single birdie, was 11 over for the day, and finished tied for 8th at 5 over par. And Tiger Woods, who started off the day in solo third, did make the charge that he was hoping for. World number 1 shot his highest round of the tournament with a 75 on Sunday. He carded a couple of birdies on the par 3 7th and the 14th, but with 6 bogeys, he ultimately fell back tied for 4th. And ironically, also tied for 4th is world number 2, Phil Mickelson. Lefty, who's had more runner-up finishes at the U.S. Open than any other player with 5, will have to wait until next year to add the elusive U.S. Open title to his resume. Right out of the gate, he birdied the first hole, but then with a string of pars and bogeys on 10, 14, and 16, he finished 2 over for the day, 3 over for the tournament. And Tom Watson, finishing his last U.S. Open at Pebble Beach, had an emotional walk down the 18th fairway. Later, he said just thinking about his son on his bag and the memories of his win in '82 were just too much to hold back. Watson became the 2nd oldest player to make the cut at a U.S. Open. After finishing 5 over par for the tournament, Watson threw his ball into the water, just like he did after winning the 1982 U.S. Open at Pebble Beach. Doug Bell has more looking back at the 2010 U.S. Open. Doug?
Casey, thanks. Looking back on the U.S. Open 2010, a lot of things going through my mind. Number 1, Shawn Micheel, Brendan DeYoung, names you didn't expect to be at the top of the leaderboard, but they were. Very exciting. But the one name I remember is Eric Compton. Now, here's a guy 2 years ago laying in a hospital bed after his 2nd heart transplant. And he was watching Tiger and Rocco at Torrey Pines, and he was determined to make it to the U.S. Open. And he did. I talked to Eric this week, a heartwarming story, and that's an indelible mark I will never, ever forget. Another one, of course, is this wonderful venue. In 2019, God willing, we'll be back here at Pebble Beach for another U.S. Open.
Thank you, Doug. And next week, the tour heads to TPC River Highlands for the Travelers Championship. You can watch the opening round television coverage on Golf Channel starting at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget, for live scoring, video updates, and live at coverage starting Thursday at the Travelers Championship, log on to PGA TOUR.com.